wait. There's more.
I want to play a game.
I see dead people.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Welcome to the Horror Speaks podcast.
What's up, you creepy fucks? This is episode 4 of the Horror Speaks podcast. So here we are again. I'm Jason.
Sidney.
Whitney. And Michael.
And tonight we're going to do an episode on our some of our favorite vampire films. And then we're going to go into Robert Eggers' 2024 Nosferatu. So, all right, without any further ado, all right, I'll just kind of jump in with my top 3 favorite vampire films. These are the ones that affected me most growing up. And the first one would be the 1978, let me get the director's name correct here, John Badham, director for Dracula with Frank Langella, Laurence Olivier, and Donald Pleasance, which was just one of those movies. There's a scene in that movie with the character of Lucy where she comes back from the dead that is just hacked. Scared the shit out of me as a kid. Absolutely love it. Great sets, great production value, just really violent too. That was really good. Then my runner-up to that is going to be Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot. That scared me pretty good as a kid too. And then rounding that out with Fright Night in 1985, that was really interesting because it has one of the more unique vampires in film history, which is Jerry Dandridge. And there's a couple of moments in that film where he's actually sympathetic to the humans, you know, and there's the one time where Charlie is sort of causing him trouble and spying on him while he's, you know, trying to eat. And, you know, when he attacks him, the first time he attacks him, he gives Charlie a choice. He says, you know, forget about me, Charlie, and I'll forget about you. I can give you something that I never had, a choice, you know. And then when Charlie holds up a cross to him, you know, the disappointment on his face, you know, like you should have taken this opportunity because now I have to kill you.
Yeah.
So that one was really cool. And it's just a great movie all around. But so those are my 3 favorites.
Well, I only have 2 because like we were talking about before, I'm just not well versed into vampire movies. I feel like I've seen, like you said, you know, you only need to see one and then you kind of seen them all. There's ones that take different. Yeah. There's ones that take different like routes to the traditional vampire. But when I was going through movies, I was like, man, I've seen a shit ton of vampire movies. And then I was like, damn, I've seen like 4. And like, so, I mean, one of my all-time favorite vampire movies is Underworld. And like, I know it's a very niche thing, I guess, because it's not the best movie. It came out in the same time as like Aeon Flux, Ultraviolet.
Yeah, the early odds.
Yeah, and then like Resident Evils. You know, they're all kind of like in the same realm to me. Mm-hmm. And I put them in the same corner of like my brain when I'm thinking of them. But I love Underworld.
The lore is great.
I don't know if that's going to pick up. But yeah, I don't know. The opening scene where Kate Beckinsale's like perched up on the side of a building in like all that latex. I was like, damn, girl. She was like a gargoyle in that thing. Yeah. That movie had more leather than like a kink fest for sure. But I do love the whole like how she's like a vampire. What did I put? She's like a vampire death dealer, basically, you know? Yep. And she makes friends with Michael. He's like a half vampire, half lichen, or like a lichen, I guess. So, I don't know. I love that movie. I love that movie a lot. I loved it too. The sequels, it kind of got a little old. I did like the prequel where it goes with the story of her mom. I think it was like one of the last ones.
Is that the one where you find out the love affair between the werewolf, the lichen, and the vampire?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
And I did like, it might have been the first one. It might have been the second one where like the elder comes out and he's like, you desire the one thing you cannot have. Mm-hmm. That was my jam. Yeah. I love that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then second would probably have to be 30 Days a Night. Love
film.
30 Days. Was that on your list too, sir? Oh, hell yeah. Let's talk about it then.
Great one.
I like
That one comes on Pluto all the time.
It does, and I've seen it a shit ton of times, but I love 30 Days a Night. There's something super creepy about that because, you have movies like your typical vampire movies, and then you have like Twilight where you're a glistening vampire in the sun.
Yes. Twinkling. There's something to be said for twinkling.
Yeah, but I did read the other day that like in the original lore of vampires were okay to come out in the sun. And like they didn't necessarily die in the sun. Just got weakened.
Well, the original novel Dracula, the sun weakened him.
Yeah.
And in Nosferatu, the 22 Murnau film is when the sun actually kills the vampire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
But I like the aspect of it being just completely dark and like there being no safe time. Like it's just pure chaos. And the vampires in that movie are just straight up killing assholes. Like they just want to kill.
Literal assholes?
No, just killing little assholes.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a friend of mine sent me the original, what was it, graphic novel.
Yeah.
And he literally sent it to me like months before the movie came out.
Yeah.
So I read it. And it's amazing how, close really it is to the source material. The difference being there were a couple of subplots that they cut out with how the vampires organized the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of other characters that were involved in that tried to help them. But yeah, I think by taking out those subplots, they made it more dangerous for the people who are actually in Alaska because there is no help.
Yeah. I mean, they're so far from everything.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to take like a trip, like the last flight out, right? Like
Yes.
his girlfriend or wife
His
or
ex, soon to be ex-wife. Or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
So that made it a lot creepier. I do love Josh Hartnett in that.
Yes.
I hated him in some recent films he's done. Trap. Hated that movie.
Who was the main girl that played the main vampire that played in that movie?
In
She
30
was
Days a Night?
badass.
Oh, I don't remember her name. I do remember Melissa George in that movie, and she was an Amityville Horror
Yes.
with Ryan Reynolds,
Mhm.
and she was in Turistas, which is okay.
I never saw that.
It was all right. It was one of those campy, early 2000s.
I actually like that one.
That one came out shortly. No, that's
It's a different girl?
Yeah, that's someone else. That's Sarah. Oh my goodness, what can I remember? Yes, thank you. But the Turistas came out shortly after Hostel.
Yeah, so that's
So that was kind of like the PG-13 Hostel for
Yeah.
the kids.
I mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I just don't think Josh Hartnett's ever going to live up to his Faculty performance.
Yeah,
The
Faculty
It was
was
great.
I
so
love
good.
Faculty.
Love
It's
that
such a good
too.
movie.
sure.
And then you had Danny Houston as Marlowe, like the main vampire. That dude was just
Yeah, he's great.
so badass. And like his voice acting in there was crazy. And then there's that one line where that girl is like crying out for God and he just says, "No God."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He's like mocking her, like God, and he
Yeah.
looks up and he's like, "No God."
it's that's one of my favorite lines in that movie. But the movie's
Yeah.
just awesome. I love the coloring in that too. Like it's all blue
Yes.
because it's, the moon is reflecting off the snow, but then it still has that like dark aspect, and the red is just like that deep, dark blood red.
Yes.
Oh,
And it has one of the best, I think, one of the most disturbing beheadings I've ever seen. In a
Yeah.
movie. Toward the end.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, that was.
I've just seen that movie so many times because it comes on Pluto all the time. So like we're forever watching it.
It's great.
Mhm.
I don't have a third one because I'm terrible at this. I thought I was more well versed in the vampires. You want to talk about Twilight?
Oh my goodness. We did, however, we did watch a Twilight marathon the other night.
No, we didn't.
Well, I did. I love Twilight.
We did.
No, we put Twilight on when we were going to bed.
I
And
stayed up and watched it.
Watched all
fell
of them.
asleep.
That would put me to sleep.
It did.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah.
hate Kirsten Stewart's awkward ass face, dude. I just
Well, I mean, I absolutely love the
That's
books.
fair.
The books were
I read the books too,
amazing,
yeah, they're pretty
phenomenal. Like I read them all in probably a month span, maybe even shorter. But the movies,
I like the rest of the cast. I just hated them.
Yeah. So,
And when
Well.
Edward's like, "Don't come,"
oh my goodness,
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Well, we know tonight's movie definitely said
Foreshadowing.
it a lot.
So I have a couple. I think one of the most favorite vampire movies that I have that I just grew up watching was Blade. I mean, come on. Blade is just iconic.
Absolutely.
If you enjoy like the mix of vampires with action and like a little bit of the superhero flair, then yeah, I definitely think that you should watch Blade because it's
a lot of superhero flair. He's a Marvel character.
Yeah, I mean, he's just his performance in all the Blades, honestly, is just outstanding. Like I just love Wesley Snipes as an actor and anything he does actually. So obviously Wesley Snipes plays Blade in this character of the half vampire, half human hunter. He's out to avenge his mother's death, who, as she was giving birth to him, she got killed or she died. And he's trying to rid the world of vampires. In this movie, his primary goal is to basically stop this other vampire called Deacon Frost, who is just one of the powerful vampires who plans to summon an ancient vampire god and bring the end of the human race. That dude's a dick. He's an absolute asswipe.
Those are most Marvel characters.
Yeah, he's awful. I think one of the scenes that I love that I'll always remember about the first Blade movie is the rave scene where they're just partying it up and then all of a sudden comes a shower of blood.
Well, I feel like whenever we hear like that goth industrial music too, you're always like, oh, this sounds like a Blade song.
Yeah, it's an iconic scene from that movie.
Powerful open.
Yeah, I love the gothic atmosphere. It pairs perfectly with the soundtrack. It gives it to its overall gritty vibe. I mean, I like all the Blade movies, even up to Blade. I think it's Blade 4 is the last one.
What was that one we were watching?
They did 3 and then a series.
Yeah.
And then he was in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, that's right.
What was that one we were watching the other day?
I think it was Blade. I think it was the first one with the Deacon Frost dude that was. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved all those. And I think that if you're into vampire movies, then this is definitely a must watch.
I'm actually kind of sad Marvel canned it. Or like it got pushed back. Because Marvel, there was supposed to be a new Blade coming out.
Yeah, now we don't know when it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
stoked to
kind of
see
sad
him.
about it.
I was stoked to see him in Deadpool and Wolverine, though. That was
cool.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the next movie that I have on my list is basically a movie that everyone has probably seen, and that is Queen of the Damned. It came out in 2002 and was based on an Anne Rice novel. It basically follows the story of a Kasha, who is a super ancient and powerful vampire. And we all know Lestat, who has become a rock star in this movie. Akasha, she is basically trying to dominate the world. She's trying to basically convince all the other vampires to join her in her alliance. This film is just really beautiful. I love the soundtrack in this movie particularly because I think Korn did a lot of the soundtrack.
He did.
Well, Chester Bennington did a lot of the soundtrack too.
Well, he sang
Yes, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack is beautiful. This film is just a blend of vampire lore. It has romance. It's portrayed in a very pretty dark setting. It definitely has a great atmosphere with just vampire movies in general. And I think, like, I don't know, this is just one of those movies that I can never get old of watching. I've seen it when I was younger, when it first came out in 2002. And we can't forget that iconic song that everybody knows.
Sing it for us.
No. But yeah, this movie was just awesome. I love the story. It's just a great movie.
Is it the prequel to Interview with the Vampire? Or in the same universe? Or
See, the thing with the Queen of the Damned was like a hybrid of Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned. I would love to see them do 2 separate films.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in Queen of the Damned that they did not get into in that movie. And Akasha is she's horrific. And
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see them really get into her
I haven't seen the
character.
movie in years. Aaliyah?
Aaliyah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Akasha is played by Aaliyah, who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
Brought too many bags on
R.I.P.
the plane.
Yep. But
Calm
that movie was really good. I love the story behind it. I really like Interview with the Vampire too. The next movie that I have up on my list is Let Me In. This is a 2010 remake of the Swedish film Let the Right One In, and it really does a fantastic job at blending horror with emotional depth. It's basically about this lonely boy named Owen who befriends a mystery girl named Abby, and I always butcher her name, but isn't it Chloe
Murat.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Took me a while.
yeah. Befriends a mystery girl named Abby who has recently moved into his apartment complex. As their friendship deepens, Owen discovers that Abby is a centuries-old vampire who needs to feed on blood to survive. It basically follows the growing friendship between the two as Owen becomes someone who can help and support her in her basically vampire life. Moretz, that's what it is. Chloe Grace Moretz.
I always thought it was. I never looked
Is
at her
it
name.
Moret?
I never
or
looked at her name
Moretz?
enough, and I always thought it was Mortez for some reason.
I always thought that's what I was gonna
Hey,
say.
Mortez. You know that.
It's a basically like the start of this movie is kind of like really slow. So if you're okay with it being slow, it does build with the tension and it kind of keeps you on the edge throughout the whole entire movie. It's basically a mix of a coming of age story and suspenseful eerie moments. There's basically Owen, he's seen out to be bullied within his school. He gets into a lot of fights and just people pick on him. And then you have Abby, who's just this like basically mysterious vampire little kid. Well, she's not a kid, but she's, a child, basically.
A child.
But yeah, I really love this film. I feel like I can watch it, again and again and not get old of it. I love how dark it is and how it has some pretty gruesome parts in there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It was really filmed beautifully, and I really give it to Chloe for her outstanding performance in this movie.
She's a baby in that movie.
Yeah, I forget. Isn't she like 14 or 15?
She's probably younger than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think she was like 15 when she played in this movie.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes is when Abby and Owen are hanging out at the playground outside of the apartment complex, and they're just kind of like, they're not friends yet, but they're kind of like working on it. And she does that little like smile that she does. And I just like, I think from when I saw that, I think that was the first movie I saw her play in. But when I saw that, I like fell in love with her her acting.
Also comes on Pluto a lot.
It does.
I like that scene where they're in the tunnel and she kills. There's a guy in the tunnel. that she
Yeah,
kills?
there's a guy in the tunnel
Yeah,
that
that
she
was
kills.
sick.
That was a sick kill. Yeah.
She was 13 in that movie.
It also had who plays the dad? I forget who plays, I should have put that in my notes, but yeah, the dad is known. He played in Step Brothers as the dad.
Oh,
I
Richard
believe.
Jenkins.
Yep. He was he was the brother.
Yeah, 'cause he had to go out and kill people, right?
Yeah, he
Get their blood.
basically had to go out because Abby, who is the little girl vampire, she had a brother. And so their dad would go out and like hunt for them basically because their dad didn't want anybody knowing about them. But yeah, Abby like just had this like mysterious tone character. She didn't really want to be friends with Owen at first because she didn't want to let him in. But I think this movie's just a really good watch. And if you're into vampires, you should definitely give it a watch.
I was looking up Owen. He hasn't really played in too much, but he was in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, Cody Smith McPhee, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was Nightcrawler.
He's a weird looking kid. Well, in that movie he was. Yeah.
I mean, he was half his age in that movie, so.
How old is he now?
Too. I don't know how old he is, but.
He was probably like 14, probably the same age as
Yeah.
Chloe was. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, City's got a list that we've already have.
Well, yeah. So I didn't have too many on my list. I had some ties between y'all's list, but I had some backups too. But my favorite vampire horror movie would be From Dusk Till Dawn,
I forgot all about that one.
Yeah.
See, you see what I'm saying?
Good one.
with
That
an
is-
amazing cast. Quentin Tarantino, George Clooney, Salma Hayek, Danny Trejo, Juliette Lewis, of course,
I always forget about that one.
Tom Savini. That's so funny.
I think I forget about that one because I
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
recently just saw that. Like probably within the.
Yeah,
Probably-
Juliette Lewis. Yeah, love J. Lou.
I think my first time seeing that movie was probably like in the last year or two.
Really?
Yeah, and it's old.
I've watched it a long time.
Yeah, it's an
ago.
older one.
I was probably far too young when I watched it for the first time, but yeah, it's one of my favorites. I really love anything that Quentin Tarantino does anyway, so
Same.
it's not hard there. But then I really enjoyed The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Did anyone see that?
I don't think I've
I
ever
know
seen
he
that
saw
one.
it.
Yeah.
It came out in 2023.
We have not seen it,
It
but
was,
it's a period piece, so
It is.
Yeah.
maybe
It
we'll
is.
watch it.
You probably wouldn't like it,
But it-
actually.
but it's not the kind of period piece that would bore you. It's
Yeah.
placed largely on the ship. It's what happened on the ship between Transylvania and,
Germany.
Carfax Abbey, as far as Dracula goes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of like Alien, like on the ship with this creature that's constantly like changing
Yeah.
as the film. I thought it was
really
pretty cool,
good.
too.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, definitely. I'll check it out because like I'm always into like anything vampire really. I know it's like kind of a thing where like vampire movies are once you've seen one, you've seen them all, but I
Yes.
like the different stories behind them and how each director kind of puts it into their own hands kind of thing. So
I agree with that. There are like some stories that follow like one lore a little more than the other. Like Let Me In, she specifically has to be invited in,
yeah.
that type of thing.
As do most vampires, though, right?
Yeah, but some of the stories don't focus on that lore as much. You know what I mean?
Like how
Yeah.
vampires glitter or glisten. in the
Yeah.
sun.
Well, he had to be
Listen.
invited in too, though.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And then my other two were 30 Days of Night and Let Me In. So I picked a backup, and it's not scary, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Sarah
It's
Michelle
so
Gellar.
nostalgia.
It is.
Look,
It's so
I got down with
nostalgic.
Buffy back in the day.
And it's just fun. It's just a fun one, you know?
It actually came on the TV the other day. I think when for Twilight, after Twilight, the
Was it?
saga played, Buffy played.
Are you talking about the show or because there's a
the movie
too?
or the series?
Both.
Okay, yeah.
Both. But I mean, you know.
I love
but-
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like
Yeah.
she's a beast in that. I
Yeah.
think that's where she really got her roll down.
I mean, she's doing some new stuff now. Like she's in Dexter, right?
Yep.
Which is weird that she's in the new season of Dexter, but
Well, I think she took some time off to have her family.
yeah, which
And,
makes sense.
But I mean, yeah, I loved Buffy. There's some great episodes in that show.
I haven't seen it in so long. I think I watched it when I was in high school. a
There are
little
like
bit.
those cult shows that I've just never really gotten into. Buffy was one.
Charmed. Charmed was
like
another one I
Never got
absolutely
into
loved.
that. Yeah.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I did watch. I watched the old Sabrina.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
new
I
one.
watched-
is
Oh,
I
no,
supposed
watched
to be
not
really-
Sabrina. Bewitched is what I watched.
Mm. The old Bewitched, like
Yes.
black and white.
Like Nick at Night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I never watched Supernatural. We started it.
was a cool
Yeah,
show.
we started it, but then
the
I
beginning.
got kind of
Vampire Diaries. Did you ever
Duh.
watch that?
No,
watch
we never
Twilight.
watched that. Yeah,
I like Twilight. I'm not gonna hate
Oh.
on Twilight.
I know of it. I'll mention it in a little bit. There's another like vampire-esque show that we love.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last time.
Did we?
Well, I don't know if we're thinking of the same show. I mean, I love the TV rendition of Interview with the Vampire.
It's really good.
People are gonna hate me for that, but whatever. Fuck them.
You like
We
what you
ball.
like.
It was a beautiful TV show.
Yeah, is that what you're thinking of?
Nope.
What are you thinking of?
True Blood.
Oh, I forgot all about
Have
True
you
True
Blood.
not seen
Blood.
that?
I love True Blood.
Yes.
That has
Awesome.
the
that has
Scaz
Al-
God.
that has
for
Alex
that.
in it.
Yep.
Mm.
He is Bay.
He a good looking dude in that.
That's one TV show that's vampire-esque that I could probably watch over again.
Well, that
And it
touches
also
on
has
Anna Paquin,
yes. What's her name in the
Suki.
Suki? Suki.
I love True Blood, but True Blood touches on a bunch of like other things too. Like there's werewolves in there,
Mhm.
and then they go on to have fairies. So True Blood's great.
Yeah, it's one of those TV shows that it definitely has some good gore in it. It definitely has some good kills. It has some drama. It has just other different, like he said, werewolves and stuff. And
But there's also a lot of comedic aspects to it too.
oh yeah, there's some really silly moments, but the silly moments kind of make up for all the crap that goes on in that show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
What's your other one?
I gave my 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we're moving on to it's an Nosferatu.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so have we seen the original?
It's been a
1922?
minute. It's been a minute.
I did a long, like probably high school, like so 2009 is when I think I first saw it. So you do the math. That's how long ago it was.
So, I mean, I've, before this, one of the main reasons, obviously, I wanted to see this because I like Robert Eggers' films. I love The Witch. I really, really enjoyed Lighthouse and The Northman. And I'm also a big fan of the Murnau Nosferatu as well as the 79 Werner Herzog Nosferatu. I love Klaus Kinski as an actor, and the two of them were just quite a pair. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just let you guys do your thing because when I do mine, I'm going to need a minute.
Yeah.
So you guys roll it.
We've only seen The Witch.
Yeah.
We haven't seen The Lighthouse. I've recently saw a few clips from The Lighthouse, and I'm like, well, this is weird.
That movie's batshit.
But I think we should watch that one. The Northman isn't a horror movie, right?
No.
Yeah. So we were talking about that on the way.
Yeah, I
up
was
here.
like, that's a no-go for me.
That would be a definitely no-go for Whit, I think.
Well, it's brutal, but it's just not, horror.
Because it's kind of like Game of Thrones-esque.
Well, kind of Viking.
Yeah.
But with The Lighthouse, it's got a lot of like literary references behind it.
It's got old Arpat in it, doesn't it?
And it's, and he's there. He and Defoe are incredible in the film. And you get to see mermaid vagina.
That's
nice.
the clip I saw the other day.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
I love that
I didn't think mermaids had vaginas.
Apparently they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that his films are basically like just elements of horror folklore to mythology. It really gives the historic authenticity to his films. So I just love how dark and dreary and just bleak and how he makes beautiful films. Like,
Well, I mean, this one was no exception. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking film for sure.
It was so dreary, so dark. There was like literally just no color in that movie at all.
Yeah, I liked that it was almost black and white.
It was very close.
The lenses that he designed for it it lets in blues.
Yeah,
but it definitely washes out the colors like at night.
And if you have not seen Nosferatu, the original 1922 or the new 2024 film, I'll just give a little bit of a synopsis on what the movie is about. It's basically about a reimagining of the classic 1922 silent. That feels weird to say, 1922. Silent horror film directed by Robert Eggers. The story follows Thomas Butter, who's played by Nicholas Hoult, who travels to Transylvania to meet Count Orlok, a mysterious and eerie vampire. As Orlok sets his sights on Hutter's wife, Ellen, who is played by the Lily Rose Depp, a terrifying battle between love and the supernatural unfolds, blending haunting visuals with Eggers' signature atmospheric style. Like I said, I really love the cinematography in this. I love the visual aspect of this movie and how Eggers really portrays his vision through each of the movies that he makes. I mean, we can all agree that it was beautiful.
Well, shot with a 35mm Kodak Vision and an Ari. Mm-hmm. And Ari's are
your favorites.
So sick. Dude. It was so sick.
Yeah, it was so crispy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was beautiful. There was almost no color in it. I did like the play on shadows a whole lot. Like there were so many scenes where it wasn't even a cut scene. It was just like them panning to the side and just going against the wall. and then the light would come back into it. And that was cool.
The scene where Thomas was in the doorway of Count Orlok's castle and how the light was just gleaming on his head. Or was it? No, it was the scene where he was getting into the horse buggy. Is that the correct term? The horse
Yeah.
buggy? And the light was just like gleaming around his body. That was like super beautiful.
Yeah, I liked when he was just getting into the castle and you could see Orlok in the distance on the steps, and it was just like an outline of him.
Mhm.
I just really like how they didn't show him too much in the beginning or in any of the trailers. They just showed that one scene with the curtain where you see his like his nose in the shadow, and you see his like eye in one part of it, which was cool. But yeah, the
Can we
shadows
talk
sick.
about that beginning scene where they just full on showed his full on self? That was interesting.
I wasn't thinking he was going to be that buff.
For a corpse.
Yeah,
They said that he lost weight for this movie. Like that,
Yeah.
because I mean, I'm not going to mention anything, but The Crow.
I mean, he
was
buffed up.
very buff for The Crow.
Yeah, he buffed up for the
And
Crow.
then for this movie, he, I just feel like Bill Skarsgård is just like in any role. I mean, there's mixed opinions about him as an actor, but he is probably one of my favorite actors in the horror genre. I mean, he definitely nailed the character in It. I mean, Pennywise, he did a phenomenal job with that.
I
And
feel like-
also the role. I mean, I like The Crow. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like the original is always going to be the best, and rest in peace, And so, I just think that he's just such a good actor.
I feel like if you go into The Crow, not comparing it to The Crow, like if it's not a Crow movie, it's fine.
yeah, obviously, it's not going to live up to the original, but I just think Bill Skarsgård like nails every role that he's in.
He was also in that show we watched, Castle Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
that
was pretty
was.
good.
I think that was the first. No, that wasn't. We also need to see Hemlock.
Yeah, Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, but I think he did an excellent job in this movie. I feel like if he wasn't in this film, it probably wouldn't have gone the way that I thought it was going to go. So I don't know. It was a pretty good movie.
I also feel like I like him more as an actor when he's playing roles where you don't know it's him, like Nosferatu, and then
It.
Pennywise.
Like he's insane at getting his voice to do wild things.
Yeah.
And apparently he was like trained by an opera singer to
Mhm.
do
To do the
Nosferatu.
lows.
Yeah, which is crazy. His like is like a vampire had asthma.
Yeah.
He was wheezing the whole time. That's all I heard.
Yeah. I do love the fact that Eggers made Nosferatu his own. Like, I feel like if you're going to go into this thinking it's going to be the original Nosferatu, then it's probably not the movie for you. And I feel like you're going to have your own opinion either way. But I love that he took his own take with the movie and made it his own. And it definitely shows in the movie. I didn't really like the whole mustache look. But again, like I said, that's his take on what he wanted Nosferatu to look like in his movie.
Yeah, I think Bill made it his own too.
Oh, yeah.
Did.
Oh, yeah.
They married a lot of, like you were talking about, they definitely married a lot of Dracula into this one. Again, people say Nosferatu is Dracula. It's from Dracula. It was changed, significantly enough to be and to look and feel different. But yeah, he just kind of brought Dracula back on over, and yeah, you can't fault the guy for doing his own thing and wanting to make a version that is, more his own. I mean, any director would do that.
I mean, I feel like there was a lot of hype to the movie.
Oh, yeah. The movie was definitely overhyped.
I'm gonna agree.
I mean, we all were anticipating this movie to be, a lot more than I guess what some of us think it was supposed to be. And so I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was beautiful. Bill Skarsgård and Lily did an amazing job, and as well as Nicholas Hoult and William Dafoe. I just wish I would have seen more on William Dafoe's part. I feel like I wanted to see him have a bigger part in the movie.
Well, he was the professor in the 80s one, or the one that you were talking about, right? The other.
No, in The Shadow of the Vampire, he was actually Max Schreck and, as Nosferatu.
Yeah.
That film is fantastic. That's also one of my favorites, but there's just so many of them. Yeah, no, he was fantastic in that. He actually played Graf Orlok, or Max Schreck was the actor that played him in the original film. And that film, the whole point of that was, what if they made this film and Max Schreck really was a vampire?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was pretty cool.
I did feel like the ending was a little rushed.
Yes.
It felt very rushed to me. It's like they set the mansion on fire and then they went back and it was done.
Yeah.
We had a sexy sex scene. And
I'm
was
coming.
No, somebody was coming.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the ending was it was rushed. I feel like I wanted to know more since I haven't seen the original in so long, since 2009, I believe. I wanted to see how he was going to take it, and it was really short.
Sidney, what did you think of it?
I really wanted to like this one, and it is beautiful, and the music was great, and there are select few little scenes and a good chunk of the movie that I do like. The rest of it just was like rushed up plateau, rushed up plateau, rushed up plateau into nothing to me. I actually didn't really like Lily Rose Depp's performances. I felt a lot of the scenes of her just convulsing could have been kind of cut out. Don't like the scene at the end where the guy goes back into his like deceased family.
Yeah.
That part was weird for no reason to me.
Yeah.
Just a lot of little things. It just didn't add up for me. I don't know.
I feel like
I wanted to like it. It didn't hit me right.
I felt like if her quote unquote possessed being was like she was at the end, where it's the part where like what the fuck, where she was like on her knees. Right before that scene when she was like drooling and like it looked like she was about to bite her tongue off. If that would have been her like the whole thing instead of just that stupid convulsing, like I feel like her performance would have been better. And she's got a big ass forehead. Like that's all I was looking at the whole time. Like she got a big forehead.
You could show the movie on it.
Yeah, you could have. In IMAX. She got a big forehead. I enjoyed her. She looks just like Johnny Depp. It's crazy.
Yeah, I do agree with her acting in this movie. Like there could have been better takes on how she portrayed her part in the role. I honestly think that if Bill Skarsgård wasn't in this movie, I probably wouldn't have not liked it as much as I did.
Same.
I think that I can agree that movie, it was just, I don't know, like it did seem like it would hype you up and then let you down, hype you up, then let you down. So it was kind of like a killer at the end when it just all ended. And I don't know. I just feel like the romanticizing, is that the word, romanticizing?
Yeah.
Of vampires and stuff. I don't know. It was kind of odd. I don't know.
I feel like without the hype of the name of the movie, if it was named something different and a little bit different, I don't think it would have done as good.
Probably not.
Because it had to live up to a big name, and then it drew a big crowd for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
All right, Jason, we need your opinion on it. We got
already then.
Let's go.
So, okay, I did not enjoy this movie. All right. This was like watching Pride and Prejudice with a walking, talking, rotting corpse. And Bill Skarsgård was solid. I'm not gonna throw any shade at him, but it's a gorgeous looking film. The cinematography was engaging. The costumes are fantastic. The sets are fantastic. The locations are gorgeous. Love how they filmed it. It's everything else. I think I personally felt Willem Dafoe was utterly wasted in this film because he's such a good actor. I feel like if you go and watch the Lighthouse, he is fantastic in that. I feel that, the one thing that I think bothered me the least about the rest of the film was the way Orlok looked. That didn't bother me. I get it. So the thing about this movie is I understand what he was trying to do, why he did things the way he did them. but it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like the biggest problem that I had with it was, Lily Rose, with her exorcist convulsing, her, as we call it, the depilepsy, the whole thing with that was just laughable. And I feel like it cheapened the severity of what was going on in the film. And the connection between her and Orlok was, yes, they established that there was a connection, but it just wasn't like really established. I mean, it was kind of empty, and hollow. And then at the end, he puts his hand on her face and it's, grabs her tits. And it's like, I'm supposed to be convinced like this is like some really deep connection they have.
She just told like the Spark Notes version of how she met him like at a younger point. Yeah.
Really quickly, what did you guys think about the bite not being on the neck?
I was going to mention that.
Is that a problem?
That was that was strange. Like when I noticed that when Nicholas Hoult, was bitten in his sternum, I guess, or chest.
Yeah, his chest, his heart.
Yeah, his heart.
But that's bone. He's got 5 little pointy teeth. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little strange because, I mean...
Him humping the air, like air humping while he's like drinking his blood.
And the loud slurps.
I mean...
The slurps was kind of strange. Like, okay, we get what you're doing, so we didn't need the extra emphasis.
So that was like a gripe I had. It was just that it wasn't the neck. It's like...
The neck is where the blood is.
You took something...
The jugular.
Like you said, that's such a big name to live up to. And you change something that like is so small, but is such a big part of vampire. Like it's the whole part.
Yeah,
it's the whole part. Like,
well, not only that, but if you notice when they're on the boat, like that 5-minute scene on the boat where the guy's going to attack him, he actually bites him on the neck.
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck is with biting on the sternum? It kind of didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, because he bit Thomas, and then he also bit, what was Lily played, what was her name? Ellen.
Yeah.
And then got her right in the chest. So I'm like, what happened?
I had almost completely forgot about the biting on the chest. And then like when they were having sex, I was like, is he about to go down on her? Like,
I thought that too. I was like,
damn, we about to get this. This is crazy.
This is not something we've seen before.
It just, the act, Aaron Taylor Johnson was, he didn't act his way out of a paper bag, in this film. I mean, he was just so doing the proper, erudite, Englishman that he just couldn't get the fury, the anger.
He's in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I just don't. And he was that character Quicksilver in in some of the Marvel films too.
He's in a lot of stuff.
But yeah, he was in the 2004 Godzilla also.
Craven.
He's not a bad actor, but he was just so silly in this. Lily Rose Depp was silly in this. Willem Dafoe was silly in this. And it's funny because you want to talk about accuracy, though. Think about this. Back in that time, male-dominated society, like very, we're talking Victorian era, woman started acting like that, she would have gone immediately to the sanitarium.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had her roaming around free in a household with 2 small children. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So it was just it was weird to me, like she's, talking all this. Honestly, I think all this movie was missing was like a laptop and like Tinder. Because that's really the connection between Orlok and Ellen in this. She fucked him, like when she was younger, and he comes back and he wants some more, even though she's married. And, the story is old as the hills, I guess.
Yeah, and the fact that he was like, I think a different scene that I was just kind of like, what is happening here, is when Thomas went to the inn when he was on his travels. And then that scene where the girl was on the horse and they were just walking through the I guess, the woods. Like, I didn't understand what was going on with that.
I mean,
were they sacrificing her
it was
because
a-
they killed the vampire?
Well, it was a dream, but it was a dream that didn't add anything or take anything away.
Yeah.
I
It
felt
wasn't a
it was
dream
one of
because
those.
his feet were muddy.
Yeah, his feet were dirty when he woke up.
Oh,
It was a wasted scene just to show off that, like, I guess because they were so close to Count Orlok's castle that
Yeah.
they were sacrificing people to him to keep them safe.
And then, but then, he's like, do not speak of this again.
Yeah,
and it was like,
don't.
this movie could have been a half hour shorter.
Yeah.
It was long. It was drawn out. The second half was drawn out and boring for me. And it's just, it was almost like putting a sticky note on the movie poster saying, this movie is a romance. Just because you attach a word to a movie doesn't mean it's in it. I did not get a sense of romance, of connection, obsession, eroticism. I didn't get any of that from this movie. And it didn't make sense that it wasn't there because of this connection they're supposed to have. And
Yeah.
it's like, our flesh will be one. Dude's a fucking corpse. There's corpse fucking in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't find that, stimulating. That's just me.
It would have been.
You know?
I think it would have. It wouldn't have went with the original movies, but like if they would have had sex and there was one part where he rose up and you could see his like wrinkles on his forehead, and I
Yes.
thought his wrinkles were like disappearing and he was like becoming like kind of human again. And even though it wouldn't have been with that, I felt like I kind of would have liked that a little bit more than him just dying. Because I didn't feel like it was really. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
because
just
I
felt
kept
weird.
asking Michael, I was like, is this actually Nosferatu? Like, or Count Orlok? Like, is this actually him, or is this his like servant at first? But then I was like, no, that's definitely him. But I just felt like I wanted to see, I mean, like I said, I love Bill Skarsgård's acting, but I wanted to see more romance instead of him being this ass wipe.
Yeah, he had some anger issues. He was yelling at Nicholas Hoult a lot, man.
I mean,
I
it
feel
was
sorry for that.
It was
guy.
great acting though, like great voice.
I'm not
acting.
knocking
Isn't it?
his acting.
Just the character. I wish I would have seen less being a butthole and more of him being passionate and wanting to have this huge, great connection with Ellen. So,
Yeah, it was.
They could have definitely done that better.
yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I probably would give the film like a 6 out of 10. The 6 being that it was a beautiful film. I love Bill Skarsgård. That's pretty much it.
Have you guys ever seen a movie called Can't Buy Me Love?
No.
It's a coming of age, like teenage, romantic comedy from the late 80s. And it starred Patrick Dempsey, Seth Green, little kid, and Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn.
Okay.
And in it, basically the premise of this, and I'm going to connect it, so stick with me. The premise of it is this kid is kind of an outcast, is kind of a dork. Nobody wants to be friends with him, right? So he pays this girl $1,000 to pretend to be his girlfriend. So the cool kids, assholes, would like him. And so they go to this dance, and he doesn't know how to dance. So he learns this, from one of these weird artsy television shows. It's called the African Anteater Ritual Dance. And when I watch Lily Rose Depp, like convulsing and like shaking and all like that, and you should look it up on YouTube because it's really fucking funny. That's what I think of. She's doing the African Anteater Ritual
Yeah, I'll have to
dance
check
from
that out.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah. I think, I mean, other than it being rushed, I just didn't like Orlok's look. He reminded me of fucking Dr. Eggman from Sonic.
No, he's Bobinski from Coraline.
I kind of see him as like the front man from Leibach back in like the 80s, but that's, you can look that reference up.
It's just a mustache. And it reminded me more so of Jim Carrey in Sonic.
Okay.
Have you seen Sonic?
Yes.
Yeah, he has that giant mustache, and
Yeah.
I'm like, stop. And his pointy nose, like it's the same thing.
Like I said, Eggers wanted to make it his own, but I feel like there could have been an improvement on the appearance of Nosferatu. Like, I feel like he could have definitely did it a different way other than putting a mustache on.
Well, and also the implied sex is really kind of dumb. I mean, he doesn't have a heart, can't use his dick. You get an eye full of it, but you
Did have a
can't
big
use
dick.
it.
Sad.
And so then what? I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I was not impressed with
And
the
so
dick.
it's basically the movie's about a woman who is so horny that she wakes up an ancient evil through a dream of hers. And that is silly to me.
I think the scene where she's like moaning and then she starts like
Which one?
yeah, I
Moaning.
mean
Both, like,
any of
which
them
one?
She's moaning the
and
whole
where
movie.
she's just like humping in the air,
Yeah.
like I mean it doesn't,
Or in
I
the
don't know.
water at the beach.
So try
Yeah.
imagining the movie without those scenes with like her doing all that randomness for like no reason out. Those are like the best parts of the movie for me. When
Yeah.
she's not in it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, also, I think one of the things for me is that it just, the movie as it like moves on, it's almost like, okay, we've got to get to the end. So we got to get rid of some people here,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like one of the more impactful scenes, or should have been more impactful, was the scene with the two girls. That was, I look at that scene and I'm like, that should hit harder than it
With the
does.
kids?
Yes.
Yeah. When that scene came on, because I heard them screaming and I was like, I wonder if he's actually going to kill him. And then he went in there and you could see him just
Throwing them like
drop him on the
ragdolls.
ground.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. But then it's like, you have, Defoe has this raspy voice and, he's already supped on your wife's blood and he's going to come back for the rest. And it's like, yeah, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was like, we get the point.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. I just feel like overall, it just, again, it just doesn't make the connections that it should make, I felt, to engage me. Rather, it lost me.
Yeah.
And
I think it would have just been better as a different movie in itself.
yeah, it could have been a completely different film.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff with Knock was really just after a while, it was like, oh, stop. It's like, why is he still here?
Yeah.
The servant was kind of strange
Well,
too.
that's him.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when he bit off the pigeon's head, like
I mean, that was cool to see. And I thought him laughing when he was in like the cell in the hospital, I thought that was Willem Dafoe. Because it sounded like my dream is to have Willem play Joker. Because he would make a sick Joker.
It probably would.
But that's what I pictured. I pictured him laughing because it sounded like him down there. And I was like, oh, maybe that's him. But it was not. I knew it wasn't going to be him because we knew what he played in the movie. But
yeah, I mean, I just think this movie got a lot of hype. And so people go into this movie expecting it to be this great film, which, I mean, it's an Eggers film, so it's a beautiful film. But I feel like the plot just did not cut it.
Well, not to say that she didn't, for me, she gave good performances, jarring performances. It's just, I guess, the direction they wanted her to go just was not the right direction for the sensuality or the romantic part of it.
I feel like we see that a lot now too.
Yeah.
It's like great actors, like people that can portray these sick roles, but then the writers just give them like the weirdest
The
things.
script,
Yeah.
I thought the script was bullshit for this film.
I
to be
hated the
honest.
fact that when Thomas was going to go see, on his travels to go see this house for Count Orlok, and how she was just like, please do not go, please do not go. I hated that.
But
like
then in her dream, she was like, "Come to me, come to me."
Yeah, it was constantly back and forth,
Yeah.
and you hear people say, "Oh, but it's her obsession." No, it isn't. It's inconsistencies in this script, I think, and it didn't sell anything for me, and that's just the thing is, it just threw me out of the experience of watching the movie. It lost me, and
Yeah.
therefore I just couldn't connect with it, and that's unfortunate. But you know what? I am glad, like I'd mentioned to you, that the film is doing well. I'm very glad it's doing well. That's important for this type of film anyways. I'm glad that Eggers is getting success. He is a great director. I mean, to me, this is just his worst film.
Yeah. It definitely could have gone a different route and could have really shined, but I do give it up for him for making, the movies that he does, and I'm excited to see where his director role takes him and what movies that he's going to bring out, and I'm hoping that it's not another remake.
Right.
I
gave this one a 4.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I gave this one a 4. I'm just going to throw it out.
He's great when he does his own stories. I feel like when adapting this, like with adapting this, I felt a lot of it was so over the top. And yeah, I'm going with a 4. And the 4 is all production value.
Yeah. Was it the most beautiful movie of 2024? Yes.
I agree.
It was amazing looking, but I'm going 4 or 5, somewhere around there. It's just me.
Yeah, I give it a 6 because of the fact that the production was beautiful, and I'm just obsessed with Bill Skarsgård. So I feel like that's, if he wasn't in this film, then I'd probably give it a 3.
Well, I just want you to know that's not his real deck. That is actually framed in Nicholas Holt's house now.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
I got your back, Michael. I got your back.
That's okay.
Yeah.
She can have him.
Yeah, if I could marry any actor, or if I could just have one night, it would be with Bill Skarsgård.
Oh,
just putting that out there. Just
the Orlock version.
Oh, this is.
Oh my goodness.
with all the pock marks and rotting pockets
and long fingered.
I mean, I'd even
no
take
ass.
Pennywise.
I didn't even like his special effects makeup. Like, it looked weird.
He kind of looked like Waluigi too.
Oh yeah, now I see that. Waluigi.
You could definitely tell it was him though. Like that's why I really loved him in Pennywise, because I didn't even know it was him when I first learned about like Bill and his acting and stuff. I mean, you wouldn't have even. It would have been nice to see him not look so much like him. And like I said, the mustache kind of.
You can see it in his eyes, and most of the time, his cheekbones they still make his cheekbones pretty prominent.
And I value Eggers, what do you want to call it? His view on what he wanted Nosferatu to look in his own eyes, but it just took some points off on that.
It could have just been a different movie, and we would have been okay with it.
Yeah, I read a review actually that
I felt like if it just would have been a different movie and didn't have the name to it and changed like a few things, the movie could have been better.
Yeah, there's a guy who said it was all paint and no point. Now, I'm not going to say there was no point, but it really was all just
there
for show. Like the visuals were there.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't get anything out of the performances.
So yeah, we discussed some of our favorite vampire movies and ones that really did have an impact on us. We also discussed the 2024 Robert Eggers Nosferatu and our opinions and thoughts on that. So I think the next episode that we're going to go into is going to be about paranormal movies, and we're going to sit down and discuss Paranormal Activity. And I think that you guys should definitely check that one out. It's going to be a fun discussion between the 4 of us.
Because Jason's never seen Paranormal Activity.
That's right. I'm going into this, man.
It's definitely going to be a good discussion. And I think we're going to put it out on
a week from when this one goes up.
Yep. So definitely check that one out. We're going to be on iHeart. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube.
Apple Podcasts.
And Apple Podcasts.
And your mom.
And make sure
definitely check us out. Give a... Oh my gosh.
And hit the like button.
Leave a review.
Like they said, definitely like and subscribe, and definitely leave a review. That definitely helps out with our content and just being able to do what we do. So we will catch you freaks later.
Yep, stay tuned for that next episode because it will come.
It's coming.
It's coming. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.